If I could, you made a statement there that you don't agree with the beliefs of Christianity with Jesus dying on the cross and that. I was just wondering, because I know you're a man of religious freedom, because I read up on you on the internet, and you believe that people should have religious freedom. And I was wondering if it was possible, if I went to somewhere like Saudi Arabia and I could maybe preach the gospel and build a church with some friends of mine, would it be possible for me to do that?
I think this question has been asked several times. The thing is that the whole question arises with this understanding or assumption in your mind that you are talking about a country which is based on the laws contained in the Holy Quran. Otherwise, if this is not, there should be no basis of your question. You say that why in Saudi Arabia they do not permit the construction of a church. That is your question. That is your question, right?
Do Christians have
No,
religious freedom?
the question is about that. I just want to make sure about the question. The question is
my question is, can Christians have freedom within countries that have
this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm
law?
saying. I just wanted to reconfirm that I have got your questions right. The thing is that I know that according to the current situation, the Saudi Arabian government does not permit, perhaps, for the Christians to build their own church. But whatever they do, how do you think and why do you think that they always do everything according to Islam, according to Quran? I give you another example. In Arabia, Saudi Arabia, they don't allow the ladies to drive the car. Have you heard about that? The ladies are not allowed to drive car in Saudi Arabia.
You would be in disagreement with the imams that teach the Quran in Saudi Arabia and other countries where religious freedom is not tolerated.
No, I'm coming to that point. I mean, the thing is that this is the main point I want to clear. I mean, everybody will benefit from that. The question is raised on this fundamental principle that the government in Saudi Arabia is thoroughly a Muslim government based on the laws and the principles contained in the Holy Quran. But this is not the case. As I gave you one example, and so many other examples could be given. So if a government does not follow that basic freedom which must be given to all the people, then how can that government can claim that we are according to that teaching? Or how can people expect that government to be like that? My point is very simple, that you can raise a question, valid question, if the Holy Quran says that in a Muslim country, churches should not be allowed to be built. This is not the case. Islam gives the freedom, and I can tell you there are so many other countries. In Pakistan, for example, it's another case of a country which is also said to have been made in the name of Islam. In Pakistan, there are so many churches. In Pakistan, there is one member of parliament who is a Christian. So they are given the freedom. Every now and then they have the Christmas, the Easter celebration. On television, on radio, they are given the time to preach their message. And they have churches, not only one, but maybe hundreds of churches are there, if not thousands. So there are examples where permission is there. And there is one example where the permission is not given there. So the fault lies with those people who do something of their own and leave the people in this misunderstanding as if they are doing it in the name of Islam. So I would say, if you have to find out what Islam says about that, you first of all have to study the Holy Quran. Secondly, you have to see the example of the Holy Prophet of Islam. Let's go to that example. It was the Holy Prophet of Islam who once, it is a historical fact, he welcomed a Christian delegation coming from Najran. There were 70 people in that delegation. They came in order to discuss certain religious matters with the Prophet of Islam. They came to Medina. There was a mosque built by the Prophet, which is known as Prophet's Mosque. They were welcomed into that mosque. They sat face to face with the Holy Prophet of Islam. They discussed the matters with him. And during the meeting, the time for their worship came. And they asked the Prophet, would you kindly excuse us to go out somewhere so that we can pray according to our own religion? The reply of the Prophet was that, why do you have to go out? Why don't you stay in? continue staying in this mosque, remain here, and we will just suspend the meeting for a time. So in the meantime, you can come and pray according to whatever you want to pray. So literally, it is recorded that the members of the delegation, they physically stayed there and they worshipped in the mosque of the Prophet. So now, can you make a comparison with this noble example with what is being done in Saudi Arabia nowadays? So the yardstick is not the present or the future or the previous regime in Saudi Arabia. This is the, I think, a real point which creates all the misunderstanding. The yardstick is either the teachings contained in the Holy Quran or the noble example of the Holy Prophet of Islam, who has been quoted as the noblest example, the role model. So that example I have already quoted. He used to meet with Christian people. He used to host them as well, the Jews as well. Sometimes Christian and Jewish people, they came and stayed as a guest in the house of the Holy Prophet of Islam. And the Holy Prophet of Islam was there to serve them and to look after them. So mixing is not disallowed with these people, and looking after them is also right. And this example of the mosque which I have quoted, so I think that should clarify that you can raise by all means any objection against the present attitude of the present government in Saudi Arabia. But based on that one, I'm sorry to say, you cannot object the teachings of Islam. I'm not responsible to justify or to endorse what the Saudi Arabian government is doing it. They are doing whatever they like. So how can I take this responsibility to defend them? The same is about Pakistan, about other countries. What my duty is, and that's a very noble and sacred duty, I simply have to defend the teachings of Islam, the teachings as contained in the Holy Quran. But if some people, they do not do according to that one, I will be the last person ever to endorse that one. Now earlier on we were discussing about suicide bombers. Can I support those people? Or any other person who is killing other people or doing unlawful activities? It's not my responsibility to defend those people who betray their own religion. I am here only simply to say this is what Islam says according to the Quran, and I am only here to defend that teaching, not the attitude of other people.